Let's talk about a social wedge issue. Yay! Abortion and pregnancy. Well, not exactly abortion, although maybe a little abortion related. A few months ago, I had an argument with somebody. You know who you are. You're going to see this video, by the way. I'm going to make sure you do. But look, the whole argument had been that men have no right to have any opinion against abortion because we never will have to have abortions, and therefore we're only violating women's body autonomy by telling them whether abortion is a moral or immoral decision, which is an interesting perspective until you get to the fact that other people do have to tell women how to make decisions concerning their health. And among them are physicians, among them are the Surgeon General, who, well, I guess technically he's also a physician. And they have to state clearly, in no uncertain terms, what their opinion is on various health topics. And one of them is fetal alcohol syndrome. If you don't know what it is, you might have it. Sorry about that. But seriously, fetal alcohol syndrome is a disease that affects children whose obviously their mother was drinking during pregnancy, usually alcoholic women. And today, this person has stated that telling women not to drink during pregnancy is sexist. Now, let's leap to the next lily pad in this pond of filth. This feminist filth. When are they going to start saying that telling women not to smoke during pregnancy is also sexist? I'm waiting for that one. It'll come, because the person that I had the argument with didn't think that this would come either. He said, you know, those bottles that they say women shouldn't drink during pregnancy, you know, those are okay. He didn't really have an answer for that. And at the time, it was a hypothetical. I did not know at the time that this would happen. In fact, I think it's very ironic that it's now becoming, now that the British people have rejected liberal crap, and they're going to reject it next month too, I can guarantee you, that these social justice warriors, which is, you know, I kind of hate that term, but, you know, that's the way that they've come to be known. They're doubling down, and they're giving even more implausible nonsense opinions, as if those are the things that she says telling women not to drink during pregnancy is sexist. Okay, so let's start here. Advising women not to drink when pregnant is sexist and causes needless anxiety, senior academics have said. Let me close this so I don't hear no nonsense. Pregnancy charities and researchers have called for a change to the alarmist official government guidelines, which warn against expectant mothers to avoid alcohol completely. They say the policy has no basis in evidence and ends up stigmatizing women and excluding them from society. Studies have shown, yeah, brilliant, studies have shown that consistent heavy drinking during pregnancy can result in fetal alcohol syndrome, which can cause physical development and learning difficulties. However, there is no robust evidence that there is not robust evidence that light to moderate drinking or even one-off episodes of binge drinking can cause any long-term damage. Experts, you'll see who the experts are, by the way, but they call them experts at the University of Kent and the British Pregnancy Advisory Service are claiming that public policy towards pregnant women has gone down an overtly precautionary route and that the government needs to be honest about the evidence. But last night, professional bodies defended the current position. So they cite the chief medical officer, Dame Sally Davis, who's the British version of the Surgeon General. She changed some guidelines last year to be even more cautious. So she gives a little pushback. You know, you got to do the pushback when these idiots come and you know, start to say, oh, we know about medicine. So Dr. Ellie Lee, interesting that they call her a doctor, but they don't tell her of what. she's the director of the Center of Parenting Culture Studies at the University of Kent. So they say where she's working, but they don't say what type of discipline she comes from. Said the exclusion of women from an ordinary activity on the basis of a precaution was sexist. Public discourse has become very hostile, and there is now an assumption that a pregnant woman holding a glass of wine is doing something absolutely wrong, she said. Women are being accosted, spoken to, and started at in public. People assume that just because you have had one drink, you've had a bottle of vodka for breakfast. No, nobody's ever done that. That's ridiculous. Okay, no, nobody said. They're just saying, you shouldn't. It clearly says on the label that women should refrain from drinking alcohol during pregnancy due to fetal alcohol syndrome. Okay, I'll show you one of those labels. Okay, if you can read here, it says Sauvignon Blanc. That's a white wine, and it says how much alcohol it is by volume, and the chief medical officer's guidelines, how many units to go in there, and the unit of alcohol content, which I've already stated, and the responsibility statement, and the pregnancy warning, and the logo may be used instead. So this is what they're freaking out about. So what she's saying is this. She said it was impossible to establish a safe level of exposure to alcohol during pregnancy. And her group, BPAS, is also campaigning for a change in the tone of the device on the... So they don't want people to mansplain, okay? Even though, if you want to see, this is the chief medical officer of the United Kingdom. She's not exactly, a chorus girl or something, but that's not a man, okay? That's a woman, okay? I'm stating for the record that's a woman, I believe, because her name is, let's go up here, Dame Sally Davis, okay? So I'm assuming that she's a woman, even though, nowadays that's some sort of, offense worthy of crucifixion or something. On the basis that it may be needlessly scaring women into aborting pregnancies because of fears that a few heavy nights out will have caused the fetus serious harm. Well, since when do they care about fetuses? I thought that they believed that fetuses aren't people. Claire Murphy, the organization's director of external affairs, said there can be real consequences to overstating evidence or implying certainty when there isn't any. Doing so can cause women needless anxiety and alarm. They're not basing this on, by the way, they're not basing this on any evidence. And it'll be, they're going to state why. Sometimes to the point that they consider ending an unplanned but not unwanted pregnancy because of fears they have caused irreparable harm. But just as importantly, it assumes women cannot be trusted to understand risk. And when it comes to alcohol, the difference between low and heavy consumption. Excuse me. The Department of Health refused to comment on the BPAS criticism. However, a spokesman for the Royal College of Midwives said it was best to avoid alcohol. So we're going to cut through the fluff a little and go to the end. Cumulative and regular alcohol consumption in pregnancy could have an impact on the health and well-being of mother and baby. She stressed, however, that expectant mothers concerned about their levels of drinking during pregnancy, I'm assuming she meant, should be supported by midwives in a non-judgmental way. Accurate data on the effect of pay attention to this, I'm highlighting it. Accurate data on the effects of moderate alcohol consumption during pregnancy is almost impossible to achieve because it would be unethical to initiate wide-scale studies which compared the outcomes for children of drinkers to those of non-drinkers. So essentially, these feminists think that they've caught everybody with a catch-22. They're saying, technically, the way medical ethics works right now, you cannot do a study where you have a controlled environment where certain women are drinking and certain women aren't, because apparently, just like in the United States, we have a law. For example, if you have kids and you're also pregnant and you drink while you're pregnant, it is possible to remove your children from your house So you can lose custody of your kids. I'm not sure if it's the same way in England. I'm assuming that it could be a factor. Okay. Now, let's examine who these people are. Okay, she teaches at the University of Kent. That's not Kent State University here in the States. It's in England. And they call themselves the UK's European University because we all know that in the United Kingdom they love Europe. They love the European Union. And so it says she's at the School of Social Policy, Sociology, and Social Research, and the director for the Center for Parenting Culture Studies, Reader in Social Policy. And then we can go to her CV, and it has the following research funding and studies. You know, it must be annoying to listen to somebody who's coughing like a coal miner talk about healthcare issues, but I'll forward this to a real physician, and then you can hear his take. Okay, it's a Romanian guy. I listen to his videos. It says the funding body from the Infant Dietetics and Foods Association for £30,000. It says mother's experience of and attitudes to the use of infant formula for eating in early motherhood. Wow, that sounds really not medicine based. Okay, it's a bunch of fluff. You know, you're talking about experience of and attitudes to something. So what? You know, what are you, a marketing major or something? Now the other one is from the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, which I looked up, and it's all a bunch of progressive crap. All of their stories are about poverty, how poverty affects people's decision-making processes. Households below minimum income standard. We can solve poverty in the UK. UK poverty, causes and costs and solutions. Okay, so inspiring social change. The Joseph Rowntree Foundation is an independent organization working to inspire social change through research, policy, and practice. There's nothing on here about being a medical professional. Look, I had a doctor once. I didn't like what he said. He told me to stop drinking. I stopped going to him. I went to a different doctor. I got a second opinion. And rightly or wrongly, that was a decision I made. I didn't like the guy anyway. I thought he was full of crap. The fact that he told me not to drink. I'm just saying that I think that his diagnosis was overblown. He was saying that, for example, drinking is entirely harmful for you, which is simply not true. You know, first of all, you know, if it was such a case, then he should be campaigning for prohibition. Okay. Which maybe he is, so who knows. But at the same time, as much as I disagreed with him, he's a doctor. He's licensed to give his medical opinion. That's the way it goes. And as much as I disliked his opinion, when I didn't like it, I went to a different physician and got a different opinion, and he said that, you know, the issues I was having had nothing to do with alcoholism. In fact, at the time, I was not drinking very much. So, you know, and this whole argument is based on nothing. So what's her other paper about? It said, modeling the spatial variations in under 18 abortion proportions in Britain. So she's talking about the frequency of pregnancy or something. I mean, let's look it up, okay? I can't find anything because it's all under scholar guards or whatever you call them. But here's one of her studies. It says young people's attitudes to abortion for abnormality. The abstract says to find out more about how young people describe and discuss their opinions about abortion for abnormality. I conducted a study which comprised a questionnaire survey of the attitudes to abortion law of 300 school and university students. This was designed to examine the strength of support for legal abortion and especially for abortion in cases of fetal abnormality. In addition, 10 focus groups were conducted with students, blah, blah, blah. It seems that young people have no desire to see the law make women continue a pregnancy against their will, and this is especially the case where a fetal abnormality is detected. 76% agreed that abortion for abnormalities should be allowed under the 1967 Act. So basically, this is a woman who advocates for abortion in order to accomplish euthanasia. And I think I'm getting to the real topic here. And that's for you, my progressive friend, and you know who you are, that argued with me over, you know, women's body autonomy or whatever. This is euthanasia at work, okay? This is the same woman who is a proponent of abortion, who does not care about women drinking during pregnancy and harming potential victims of fetal alcohol syndrome. Okay, so she thinks that these labels, which if you look at all of her studies, they're all based on feelings and opinion. They're not based on medical data. They're not in fact, the Telegraph article even says, the Telegraph article is the one that I started at the beginning. Okay, that article even says that this is a way to hurt the feelings of women who are ashamed that they're getting caught drinking while pregnant. Look, if you decided to get pregnant, I think it's not within your purview to decide whether physicians should tell you whether to drink or not. Okay, they tell you all sorts of other advice besides that while you're pregnant. It doesn't matter. And you know, I've modeled all these other issues that are at hand. Okay, the other argument that this idiot was telling me, this progressive, this Bernie Sanders supporter was saying, was that you know, men should not have the right to tell women what to think about abortion. Okay, now what does Bernie Sanders, who does he think is to blame about this cultural shaming of women?
Billionaires, billionaires, billionaires. I am not a billionaire.
I thought that was a very refreshing take from the Burnster or whatever, you know, feel the burn, fuck the billionaires. You know, they're making these women pregnant and then having them drink. I think that was a very important point that he brought in lieu of the friend of mine that, or former friend of mine that doesn't really want to respond to this topic, although he's getting a chance now. But to be honest with you, this whole notion that men can't get pregnant and therefore can't opine on pregnancy or on abortion has been ripped apart by the progressives themselves, and I'll illustrate it here. Transgender man opens up about shocking pregnancy. Whoa, baby, a transgender man is speaking out about his shocking pregnancy, which came a decade after transitioning from womanhood, a process he was still undergoing when he learned he was carrying a 21-year-old baby. I never thought about getting pregnant because of the male hormones. I didn't think it was a possibility. It was definitely a surprise. The joke wasn't too funny as doctors confirmed a baby was on the way. It felt like there was a pillow under my stomach, but there was no pillow, he added. So you got here, it's pretty creepy, I'm not going to lie. But, you know, I guess to each his own. I guess you know, anyway, point being, now men can get pregnant. So we can talk about abortions, right? Because this is apparently a man, right? I mean, isn't he? I mean, the headline says it. It's the Daily News. It's the same newspaper that employs, you know, nominal black man Sean King. So let's review what's changed. Okay, I know it's hard to keep up. Okay. It was that the unborn are people, okay? Now, fetuses are not people, they're basically tumors. Okay? So that's column 1. Okay, it used to be that we protect children from fetal alcohol syndrome, okay? That's column 2 over here. Now it's, fuck you, don't get between me and mimosas. You know, I'm trying to be stereotypical as possible here, even though You know, I've never seen a woman actually drink a mimosa, but I'm assuming somebody does. It was that men can't get pregnant, so we have to shut the fuck up about abortion. Now it says you can be a man with a full functioning uterus. So that's a standard now, thanks to the progressive leftists who really, they don't have standards. This is cultural Marxism, just as somebody I know always talks about. This is moving the goalposts all the time in order to establish an agenda where the state and where these progressive Fruit Loops, they become the new church. They become the new popes. They become the new overlords. And the longer that we allow them to be taken seriously, the less orderly of a society that we'll get. So it's time to return medicine to the professionals. Okay, this is not about Obamacare and healthcare, because you know, that's just a topic that I have to shoehorn into everything. This is about keeping professional standards in every profession. Okay, we don't need these social sciences morons, these idiots who have made a career based on opinion and feelings, interfering with the proper administration of healthcare. This is Ramon, bold like a leopard. Let me know what you think. And you especially, man, I told you about it in January, that this was a real argument, you know, women and alcohol. I guess now we can't talk about it. You know, I'm sorry. I guess, you know, let me, you know, pretend this is a white flag. I'm waving the white flag because apparently, you know, I guess before you even brought it up, now we can't even talk about women drinking during pregnancy. So enjoy. This is Ramon, bold like a leopard, and we'll see you later. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and peace out.